In the next few minutes, Thando Mxoli comes through to give us a roundup of the activities on the sporting field. In fact, I'm told we can proceed straight up with Thando. You want to see what he's wearing this afternoon. But let me tell you, while we look at that, the dream of an all-South African final disappeared when Egyptian log leaders Pyramids FC knocked out Soweto Giants Orlando Pirates to set up a date in the final with Mamelodi Sundowns. Explains why Thando is so bold to be wearing that today. To talk to us about that, then, the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League, as I said, SABC News senior sports reporter Thando Mxoli. Thando, good afternoon. Thank you. Let's start with the Sundowns game. So this is the opportunity to add, show us the star. Open it there. That lone star there.
Lone star. Yeah.
With a bit of luck, a bit of precision in performance, they could add to that and make it two.
Definitely a possibility. Look, it does not have to be pretty in a tournament. You just have to progress and get to the next stage. I think I had my observations about Sundowns when I saw the team announcement and I saw Shalulile and Reyners on the bench, and I thought, who's going to score the goals for them? Because you need to keep those defenders busy. You want someone who's going to sit next to the defenders, as you've played soccer, sit next to the defender and almost and almost turn those tall, lanky defenders from North Africa. First off, we didn't see any of that, and then Cardoso made the right changes. Tembazwane came on, Reyners came on, Shalulile came on, and that defense was a lot busier, and they were defending a lot more flat. The football was not being played in front of them. Now they were basically having to move and turn, and we all know tall defenders basically turn like the Titanic, and at the end, Reyners got the all-important goal, which sent Sundowns through.
It's equally important who the opposition was, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is Al Ahly we're talking about.
12-time champions of this tournament. We talk about Sundowns and how great they are as a team. They've only won this tournament once in 2016 with Pito Mosimane. But a team like Al Ahly, winning the league in Egypt is not important. This is what they live on. This is what a coach is judged on. If you fail to win this tournament, you're almost on your way out. They're basically on the same level as a Real Madrid, whereby the standards are so high, they compare themselves on continental football grounds, not local football. So to beat a team like this in Egypt, in Cairo, 75,000 fans who were very, very, very loud, making sure that they supported the team from the first minute till the end when Reyners silenced them. That, for me, takes a lot of temperament, takes a lot of composure and experience, and that's what, unfortunately, some other teams lacked.
So there wasn't to be the case for Orlando Pirates, right? Sure. They either had to demolish and flatten the pyramid, go through the pyramids, or go around the pyramids. But in the end, they hit a roadblock at the pyramids.
Pirates basically succumbed to a very interesting pyramid scheme. I think, for me, again, we talk about experience at this level of the game. For example, and Al Ahly has not lost a semi-final since 2010. That's the kind of pedigree we're talking about. Sure. Now, Pirates have not been in this sort of stage of the tournament. They haven't been there as frequently as some of the other teams like Al Ahly, Sundowns.
Yeah.
It's different when you need to convert chances, when chances are given to you, and sometimes you need to adapt and box differently. That's what, for me, I think Pirates could not do yesterday. They had all the opportunity. They asked all the right questions. They had the pace in the likes of Ngota, but the final touch was not there. There was no one who basically grabbed the game by the horns and said, I'm going to take this moment and become a hero. There was a big miss by Hoto basically in front of the goals. Mofokeng also had a chance. It's stuff like that I suppose you learn from. And unfortunately, you have to go through those moments whereby you miss those chances, and hopefully in the future, whether it's for the national team or Pirates, we will benefit as a nation, a soccer nation, from this experience. Yeah,
in fact, build more on that argument. It's part of the conversations you and I have been having about what it all means for South African football and the quality and where it stands and where it is going. Tell me about the lessons that both teams have learned or should have learned from this process.
Look, whether it's positive or negative situations, you do learn a lot. For example, I'm wearing a Sundowns jersey today, not because I'm a Sundowns supporter, but I understand the importance of a national team and national players playing on the biggest of platforms. Patrice Motsepe, when he took over as CAF president, he said, I am not going into Africa alone. I need all all those who can to come with me and make an impactful impact on African football. Sundowns have shown that they're also competing on an international level. They're looking at things like Club World Cups and Champions League. That's where they measure themselves on. Chiefs is sitting and watching at home. Pirates is saying, we've got a taste now. We've played in the semi-finals of such an important tournament. We've seen what this does for the brand that is Orlando Pirates. This needs to be bigger, and and we can grow from this. National teams have always done well when South African teams are doing well at club level in African competition. So Sundowns and Pirates, that's the core of Bafana Bafana team. That will be carried forward going into AFCON later this year, and hopefully those very same players will perform on the biggest stage again. And how important is it for Orlando Pirates to, despite the fact that they're not in the finals, but still finish strong? They definitely can finish strong. They can push Sundowns as far as they can in the league. I don't think they'll have the legs, but soccer, things can happen. People can lose 2 or 3 games and then things fall apart for Sundowns, for example. They've got a chance to win the Nedbank Cup, which they are holders of. It's a tournament they've won before. They are playing a team that I'm rather fond of from Naturena, but again, that's an opportunity to finish on a high and basically send Coach Rivera on his way back to Spain on a positive note with a trophy, with at least 2 trophies, and possibly a third if they can with the league. So you just never know. Yeah. I think if you take it one step at a time, you can get those little victories. Yeah. One victory at a time, one trophy at a time, one match at a time, and you never know what you end up with at the end of the day. Thando, thank you so much. I wish you had brought a second one of those Sundowns shirts. Gladly exchanged. Yeah? That's Thando Mxoli there, just wrapping up what the week has been looking like in as far as the sporting action is concerned.